Fintech is very easy to understand because you kind of have some payment in the future and you're factoring it or collecting it today. And it's part of everything we do. Everyone has a credit card and everyone has car payments, and it's kind of just normal. So we do that and still think there's a role to have a good early partner. But the other things that we've seen have been equipment. There's a lot of new forms of collateral or new businesses where equipment's not yet well understood. A few years ago, Crusoe Energy approached us and said, there's this new asset. It's called an NVIDIA GPU. We think it's going to change the world. We think it's going to be core to all AI cloud computing. Will you help us figure out how to finance this equipment? At the time, it wasn't really well understood by banks. We look for these equipment-oriented businesses where we can help kind of season before it becomes well understood and well accepted as an asset class. So today there's institutions from Blackstone and others that are financing NVIDIA chips. 2 or 3 years ago, for 90 was. If you can think about financing those partially with credit versus all with equity.
You have this new thesis on NVIDIA chips, and you don't yet have the large institutional investors, the Blackstones, able to finance them because the thesis is too new. How do you go about structuring the investment in such a way that's both attractive to the counterparty, but also attractive to you and your investors?
It's a really good question. We always say like each facility we do is a bit tailored. And with the NVIDIA GPU, the question was how long is this NVIDIA GPU worth anything? How quickly is the next GPU coming out? How far ahead is NVIDIA versus AMD? The big question for that was not demand, it was what's the right life of this investment. And so in that deal, we said the most important thing is having a fast payback period. So having a shorter duration facility and having faster amortization and getting paid down along the way. So your break even is under 2 years.
And as you make the investment, the idea is that if you're successful, you're going to be taken out by a larger credit partner. So talk to me about the incentives of the different parties when it comes to getting taken out of the credit facility.
Alignment is something we think a lot about. There's a few ways that we accomplish this. So number one is we've kept our fund size small in the world of private credit. And so our last fund's around $400 million. We can do $10 or $20 million facilities. Most people don't want to be bothered with that size, but that's often kind of what the company needs when they're getting started. So one is just fund size matters. And number two is we typically, whenever we do a debt investment, we'll do 10% in equity of whatever we do in debt. As it just forces us to really think about, is it a business we're excited about? Plus, is it an asset that we think can pay back our debt? And I also think most credit funds don't think about it that way. They view themselves as like, hey, I'm going to be in this for a period of time and then I'm not going to be in this. And it's like this very temporary relationship. And I think when you see things not go well, that's why there's this adversarial relationship often, because it's like a temporary partner versus equity.
So the opposite of this is also has some truth in that a lot of great companies have been taken down by facilities like venture debt or by credit. When should a startup think about bringing in credit versus equity onto their cap table?
So the first thing is Jason Gus, who has been a longtime partner, he runs Octane Lending. We've done a lot with them. He says, if you're a capital intensive business, you should have upper 90 or a firm like them on your balance sheet. Because you're always going to have problems that come up. Like even in fintech, I saw a company who had a system outage and they ended up having a pool of receivables that they needed to use equity to fund. They have a new product they want to launch that's outside of their buy box. They want to work with a customer that's bigger than the concentration limit allows for. So often I see startups, they get equity or capital from like 6 firms, and there's 6 VC firms that all solve the same problem. It feels diversified, but you're really not. So I think get 2 to 3 VC firms for hiring the best talent and marketing and just rainy day. And at the same time of that round, bring in a group like Upper 90 if you have receivables or equipment or do acquisitions, because it just allows you to have another tool and a kind of part of the foundational DNA to grow. It's like raise equity and then you think about debt. And I would really encourage firms where capital is kind of a critical part of their business strategy. It should be part of that round as one versus two